Mr. Oshima, you were telling me about how you started working in films, that it was almost a coincidence that you were not seeing films when you were young?
No, at that time I was grown up in wartime, so it was very difficult to see movies. But after war, we have nothing to amuse us, so movie is the only one thing to amuse us. So generally, we young Japanese like the films very much, every films. But I have no special intention to get in film world or to become a film director at all. I thought the film business is a very hard way to our ordinary life.
And before you started making films, what did you think you were going to do?
When I was a student, I committed with student theaters and the student movement. So I know something about art, theater, literature, but at that time I didn't think this kind of arts thing are not to be a business of a man's life. I think this literature or theater or movie, this kind of thing is too soft or too weak to life.
So you started making films, and to us who, of course, before we met you in these days here in Montreux, we knew you through your films. And one thing comes out first, outstanding of all of your films is your vision of sensuality. Where does that come from? Where does your sense for sensuality come from?
I entered film business because I didn't have any other job. I took the examination of the assistant director of Shochiku Ofuna Studio, and I entered this studio. So, but as I told you before, I am not particularly interested in cinema. So I thought, why I do cinema, or what is cinema to me? I think about it a lot. For example, other assistant directors who like the cinema very much, they don't think about cinema, or they don't think about the relation of cinema and them. On the contrary, I thought a lot about cinema and the relation of cinema and me. So it added something very too much explanation. No, not explanation, but too much theory, theoretical, like that added to my movies. And so from the beginning of my director's career, I always feel I have something different to ordinary cinema world. So in any way, I wanted to make very peculiar film, but my own.
Yes, but why you seem to have in your films, and knowing you as a person, quite a knowledge and quite an angle on the Western culture and its relation with Japan. Does that have something to do with you growing up during the war?
Yes. In any way, I think there is a very big misunderstanding exists in this Occidental world to Japan. You think Japanese people grown up purely as Japanese. And after we learn something from Occidental culture. But it's not true. From the beginning, our grown up, for example, we hear song of lullaby from European lullaby, and also we read the book Grimm or Aesop, like that. And at the beginning of primary school, we learn Shakespeare. We are all Japanese grown up, Japanese culture and also Western culture. So not peculiar Western culture. So from the beginning, we are Japanese people are very interested in our very strongly influenced by Western culture. But I have a special reason because when I was 13, Japan defeated in the Second World War. So we were very keen why we were defeated by European, by American. So we wanted to learn very keenly to European culture or American culture. And also we thought, where is our faults of Japanese culture which was defeated? We thought this is not only military defeat, but also this is a cultural defeat. So we are very keen to learn European or American culture. And when I entered film business, I thought total Japanese cinema is very bad. The biggest reason is Japanese movies describe people very passive way. The protagonist is always passive from society. They are always not attacker, but always passive. They always suffered by the war and federalism of Japan and the poorness of Japan. These three things very close to every protagonist in Japanese cinema. So the director always always very sympathized to these passive people. And people want to cry about this. I don't like this passive way. I think human beings must be very independent himself, not be slave of society in mentality. And so I want to change this situation of Japanese cinema and also this situation of Japan. And so I of course, before I entered the studio, I saw a lot of European or American cinema. And I wanted to take good thing from this European culture and European cinema. Like that.
So we come to the empire of the senses. Where did the originality of that come from?
Yes, it's a very famous incident which happened in 1936. It's a very military time. Everyone wanted to be very military and very public. And she behaved very personal, very private. So many Japanese approached to her at that time, even at that time. But I think it's a most passionate love in Japanese history. So I wanted to do cinema on this incident. But it was very difficult to express these sexual scenes. So I gave up the subject years. But suddenly, a French producer, Anatole Doman, came to me and to make income production. And at that time, French government freed sex expression. So I thought it's okay if I make this as a French cinema. I could express everything very freely. So I decided to make a film on this subject. Then I shot in Japan, and I sent negatives to Paris, and they are developed in Paris, and I edited in Paris, and I completed it.
Years later, you did a film in France, which is called Max Mon Amour,
Yes.
and which somewhat takes on even further the subject of sensuality in film. Do you feel there is affinity between the French culture and the Japanese culture between in the area of approach to sex?
I don't know exactly, but as far as Japanese culture about sex, originally Japanese are very free and very natural about sex. So, for example, if we read oldest story, Kojiki, or oldest anthology, Manyoshu, people sing or describe sex very openly. But afterwards, Buddhism came from India through China, and also Confucianism came from China. And these foreign culture were very strict about sex. And this Buddhism and Confucianism is a religion, samurai class. And so after middle age, by and by, samurai culture or samurai mentality became dominant. And so they took Buddhism and Confucianism as their doctrine, and they women, the status of women became very weak, because in samurai society, women's part is just give a birth to a baby, because samurai society is man to man, and man can continue the house. So the woman's part is only give a birth to a boy. So women's part is very difficult, low and weak. And so by this Buddhism and Confucianism and mentality about sex became dominant. But even in Edo era, of course, samurai people are very strict about sex. But ordinary people, merchant, artisan, or farmers, are not so strict about sex. They are still very free. So, based on this free sex, literature of saikaku or ukiyo-e, hokusai or utamaro, that kind of very free sex expression was exist. But after Meiji, when Japan opened the country to Western country, I think Japan imported Christianism and this strict attitude to sex, and it was combined Confucianism and Buddhism, and these three in one formed a very strict attitude to sex. Especially at that time, emperor system became very strong. So, for example, in Christian society, you can do sex between husband and wife who swear before God. Like this, Japanese people only can do sex under the emperor. This husband and wife who swear we will form a couple. So this became Japanese society's rule or sex. But even so, before the Second World War, still exist free people who inherited from Edo era. So I believe this Abesada, the protagonist of Rapid Sans, is a person who remained from this free Edo era.
Okay. I only have a few more questions.
Yes.
You're being very nice.
Yeah, please. Okay, stop. Please take a rest.
Focus again. Okay. The younger generations, kids that today are 20 years old, they probably know you better. See, our generation, we know you from films like Empire of the Senses. And the younger kids today, they know you because you did a film, which is called Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, which of course was with an idol of the younger generation, which was David Bowie. How was it working with him?
In Japan, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence was very, very popular, luckily. Perhaps it depends on not David Bowie, but Sakamoto, who played captain of Japanese army, and also Bito Takeshi, who played the sergeant of Japanese army. They are both very strong personality in Japanese. Also, this connection to David Bowie or Western culture, young people are very interested in this film. Also, I would like to say this is almost the first picture a director described the both sides of war very equally. In Japanese film history, Japanese director always described the Japanese side. Even anti-war cinema, they always describe only Japanese side. They Japanese are so suffered by the war, or Japanese military fought very bravely, or like that. Anyway, this is Japanese side. This is the first movie. It described both sides, Japanese side and foreign side, enemy side. So I'm very proud of this. I got a lot of questions in Vietnam country, Mr. Oshima, how Japanese right wing or military reacted to this movie. So I replied, in Japan, everyone knows what Mr. Oshima was. So who didn't like me, didn't come to the theater.
Is that why the two sides of the world kiss each other?
Yes.
Is that what you believe?
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing.
And a couple of words about your next project. You told me you're shooting in Los Angeles next fall.
Yes, I'm planning to shoot a story of a Japanese. His name is Sesshu Hayakawa, who was the only one Japanese star in Hollywood. It's in 1910s and 20s, silent period of Hollywood. And so I would like to describe this star and the situation of Japanese in the States.
And is that going to be in high definition?
No, I'm sorry to say. Yes, I have no intention to make a movie by high definition in this stage. But I think if I could find good subject for high definition, I'd like to do it.
And then here to ask you I will ask you one last question that you suggested, which I think is the best question. It's for you, what is important in life? What is the important things? I'm not talking about cinema specifically. What is important for you?
I would like to be very pleased, myself. I want to be very happy every day, and I will try everything to make me happy. And because if I'm not happy, I can't make people happy.
If I may just go a little further, can you give me a couple of examples of things that make you happy?
For example, I always enjoy watching movies, even they are not so good. I want to enjoy them very much. And I'm always happy to meet whom I meet at the first time. It's me to thank you.